Hey, what is happening, guys? This is ConnorTalks, and this is a review of the Discovery Resorts Lake Argyle, located between Western Australia and the Northern Territory, not too far from Kununurra. You can see our beautiful little camper van set up there. That is actually a medium campsite, and the first issue I have with this place is the cost of a campsite. So that's supposed to be a medium campsite. You can see we're sardined in with people left and right. It was super busy when we stayed there a couple of weeks ago, just at the start of July 2025. This is supposed to fit 6 people, and if you look online, the cost of a campsite at the moment is upwards of $100 per night for an unpowered site, which is where we are. That's pretty crazy to me, considering most campsites of like a similar quality are probably 40 or 50 bucks at most. In addition to that, we asked for a good spot because there was a birthday happening during this time we stayed here, and we booked it weeks in advance. In the notes we put, please give us a good spot. It's somebody's birthday. And when we arrived, the woman at reception who checked us in didn't seem to have any clue that we wanted a good site and just kind of gave us any old site. She kind of mentioned that she was like, oh, I've seen the notes and I'm sorry, hopefully this site will be good enough, which is a little bit of a concern to me because it makes me think that they didn't look at the notes beforehand. And if it was actually a serious note like a disability, then are they checking that? Are they accommodating for those things for other people? Because if they aren't, that's a huge concern. Anyway, first thing we did is checked out the infinity pool. I feel like this is number one reason to stay here. It was gorgeous, it was beautiful. The only issue I have with this thing is that it was absolutely freezing. Although I have a theory behind it, and that is that I think they keep the pool ice cold so that people jump in, get the Instagram photo, and then jump back out so the next person can get in. If you've stayed here or if you plan on staying here, tell me how cold that pool is. I reckon it was almost freezing. The next thing I need to mention is the loud helicopter noises that went throughout the day. I can only talk about what happened during our stay, so I'm not sure if this is a 7 days a week occurrence, but as you can see, the helicopter probably sat about 20 meters away from our campsite, and it was even closer for some other people. It's also super close to the pool. That helicopter's loud. If you've never stood next to a helicopter, believe me, it's really, really loud. And it's kind of frustrating when you're trying to chill out at your campsite, sit on your camp chair and enjoy the day going by. All you can hear is the helicopter whirring. And I get it, it's probably cool if you've booked a helicopter tour across Lake Argyle, but if you're just staying there and trying to relax, then it is quite irritating having to listen to that all day. Next thing is the toilets. These were donga style, as you can see, and these remind me of a FIFO camp. And to be honest, I've probably had better toilets at a FIFO camp. They did have everything we needed. They've got a toilet, they've got a shower, sink, happy days, but it is very small, very cramped, and for upwards of $100 a night, I think the facilities should be a little bit better than what they are. They may have had better toilet facilities at other places along the campsite, but I can only speak of the ones that I went to, which were the ones that were closest to where I was camping and where they put us. They also had lots of walking trails. We stayed here for 2 nights and we didn't really have time to make use of any of them, but I'm sure they were great. You go around Lake Argyle. I'm sure they were awesome. Let me know if any of you have checked those out. Can't give you a specific review, but pretty good. Always good to have walking sites and walking trails on a campsite. One thing I did not manage to grab footage of, although I managed to get footage of myself doing press-ups for some reason, pretty weird. But one thing I didn't get footage of was the bar. We went to the bar on the first night we stayed here in the evening. They had live music. I will say it was a really good vibe. It was chilled out, the music was good, the beers were good, as always. The food was very, very bang average. I got a burger and it tasted like the burger patty itself tasted frozen, to be honest. But sometimes, like, the quality of the food isn't, I'm not coming here for the quality of the food. The food wasn't great, but the vibe overall was worth it. So thumbs up for the bar. Finally, we get to the best part of our trip, and that was a sunset cruise which we booked through a tour company called Lake Argyle Cruises. I don't actually believe they're connected to the Discovery Resorts, but they do pick you up at the reception if you book with them. So we stayed at the campsite, they picked us up in a bus from reception, took us onto the boat. It was BYO with the alcohol, so we got to bring our own beers. Happy days. And it was just, again, an absolute vibe. We did a sunset boat tour across Lake Argyle. We got to see loads of cool different animals. We saw rock wallabies, we saw heaps of freshwater crocodiles. If you're not aware, Lake Argyle is famous for the amount of freshies it has in it. And then after seeing crocodiles, we swam in the water. I don't know how that happened, but the lady said to us that we don't get to have a beer unless we swim in the water of Lake Argyle, so we definitely jumped in. And there's a freshwater crocodile you can see on the video. Not great quality, but they are very good at camouflaging themselves. In addition to this, on the boat tour, I had my first ever twisty, which tasted to me like a stale What's-It. If you ever had a What's-It, if you're from the UK, you'll know what I'm talking about. It was still pretty good though, and I was very hungry, so at that point anything tasted good. If you're staying at Lake Argyle Discovery Resort, I'm sure the main reason you're staying there is to see Lake Argyle, and one important thing I want to mention is that you do not have to stay at the resort to go onto Lake Argyle. You can drive here for the day, take a paddleboard, take a kayak and go out on your own, so you do not have to pay the expensive campsite fees if you just want to visit the lake itself. I don't know how we didn't get eaten by crocs. There is crocs in this water, believe me. So yeah, I don't know, maybe they don't like beer. Anyway, that was our tour. We got back just after the sun had set. Jen made a delicious home cooked curry, and then the next morning we headed out towards Darwin. I will list all of the pros and cons that I've talked about in this video on the screen now. Make of those what you will. If you have an infinite budget, then definitely check this place out. Awesome. Or if you're planning on doing activities, so if you're planning on doing the boat cruise or the helicopter tour, I think it's definitely worth staying here for a couple of nights and getting those things done. But if you're just staying here for a relaxing weekend, don't waste your money. Bye.